Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Friday introduced a measure which, among other things, would make it a felony to provide gender-affirming medical care to transgender youth. Now, Greene's ironically titled Protect Children's Innocence Act actually outlaws more than a dozen medical interventions and procedures that are used to treat gender dysphoria in transgender teens, including puberty blockers, which are reversible, hormone therapy, which is reversible, and even certain kinds of surgeries done for the purpose of changing the body of such individual to correspond to a sex that differs from their biological sex. It's important to note that a lot of these surgeries are not available to people under 18. Nonetheless, she has that in the bill, again, trying to solve problems that don't actually exist. Now, the measure would also prohibit using federal funds for gender-affirming healthcare, including in Affordable Health Care Act plans. Under Greene's bill, anyone who knowingly performs any of this care will face some serious punishment. They would be guilty of a Class C felony, carrying a punishment of 10 to 25 years in prison and a maximum fine of $250,000. Greene's bill also would prohibit institutions of higher education from providing instruction on gender-affirming care and bars doctors that have provided gender-affirming care to a minor from receiving visas or even being let into the United States. Wow. So, look, there's a few things that I need to dissect in this trash heap of a bill. Now, the first thing is, wait, whatever happened to being against big government? I thought the right wing hates big government. I thought the right wing, the whole conversation during Obamacare is, hey, I don't want the doctor. I don't want the government getting me between me and my doctor. I don't want that. Do you want the government getting in between you and your doctor? Well, what do you think this does? It gets between people and their doctor. I mean, again, the AC, it's little big government butting in between you and your doctor and telling you that you cannot make a decision for your own child. And on that, when it comes to parental rights, they say, oh, no, we're in favor of parental rights. Only when it comes to vaccines. In reality, they love telling parents what to do with their kids. This is getting government right in the middle and saying, guess what? Big government knows better than you about you and your child's gender identity. And it's big government that can make the decision whether or not you can affirm your child's gender identity. I mean, and then, of course, there's the part about telling colleges, both public and private, that they're going to ban any instruction about doing gender-affirming care. Isn't it funny how the party of freedom and bodily autonomy no longer, is interested in freedom and bodily autonomy? I mean, these are the same people that called vaccines for children against coronavirus. Well, they called that tyranny. Vaccines are tyranny, but, we're going to stop you from having your child from being able to get gender affirming care, which again is reversible. And they claim it's because they care about the children, but it's not. Now, first, before I get to that, I want to go to Greene talking with Tucker Carlson about her new bill.
Gender affirming care, which is really child abuse. This is actually an assault and it's child abuse. And this practice should never happen. It's so disgusting and appalling, and it's an embarrassment to our country. Teenage girls actually having their breasts chopped off, teenage boys being castrated. This needs to be illegal, and I'm introducing a bill called Protect Children's Innocence Act, and it would create a law that would cause it to be a Class C felony for any person involved in so-called gender-affirming care. That means genital mutilation surgery, that means hormones, that means puberty blockers, anything involving any youth under the age of 18, because these kids are too young to make these awful decisions that will affect them and will be permanent for the rest of their lives.
Oh, they will be permanent for the rest of their lives. Wait, you know that, again, both of those things, puberty blockers and hormones, are actually completely reversible. As far as mastectomies, again, have you never heard of breast implants? I mean, you may want to ask your friend Lauren Boebert. I'm not saying anything. I just don't think those are real. That's just my opinion. Okay, but look, anyway, look, there's very, very few. I would say that it's probably incredibly rare to see a 12-year-old get a hysterectomy. There's got to be a major medical issue. They're not just handing those things out willy-nilly to kids. As I've explained in another video, it's difficult for healthy women of childbearing age, incredibly difficult, to go and get a hysterectomy. Even those who are suffering with massive amounts of pain from conditions like endometriosis, for example. Doctors will still tell them in a lot of cases, yeah, but maybe your husband will want kids one day. Or maybe you'll get married and you'll want children. Do you think those same people or those same doctors are handing out these, hysterectomies and all this stuff in the guise of gender affirming care like candy? No, it's just nonsensical. It's not reality. But again, here's an example of conservatives making things up and then getting scared about it. It's really messed up. Really messed up. But once again, Marjorie Greene shows how disgusting and appalling she really is, because she wants to say this is child abuse. No, you know what's actually child abuse? Forcing transgender youth to pretend to be something that they're not. Physically, mentally, and emotionally abusing them for being themselves, for wanting to be themselves as trans people. You know what's also abuse? Dead naming people. That's abuse. Shoving them in the closet. That's abuse. But look, gender affirming care has actually been proven to reduce abuse, okay? To reduce suicidal ideation among trans youth. In fact, a study last year published in JAMA Surgery found that gender affirming surgeries are associated with improved mental health conditions among transgender people. This very large study actually involved about 20,000 participants, and it found that transgender people who had received one or more gender-affirming surgical procedures had a 42% reduction in the odds of experiencing a past month psychological distress, a 35% reduction in the odds of past year tobacco use, and a 44% reduction in the odds of past year suicidal ideation. The study also found that people who received all of the gender-affirming surgeries they desired had significant reductions in the odds of every adverse mental health outcome examined. But of course, someone will always come up and cite, but what about the people who want to detransition? Are there people that have wanted to detransition? Yeah. There are people that realize that, oh, I made a mistake. Turns out I didn't actually have gender dysphoria or what have you, right? Does it happen? Sure. Is it a large number of people? No. I generally say probably out of 100 trans people who have transitioned, there might be 2, maybe 3 people who may have some regrets. And yet Republicans want to take those people and say, well, that's why we shouldn't let anyone do it. No, it's ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense. But by the way, the studies that have come in have really illustrated why so many different medical organizations support the medical necessity for treatments dealing with gender dysphoria. And so those treatments would, of course, be gender affirming care. They include the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, the American Academy of Dermatology, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Academy of Nursing, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Physician Assistants, the American College of Health Association, the American College of Nurse Midwives, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the American College of Physicians, the American Counseling Association, the American Heart Association, the American Medical Association, the American Medical Student Association, the American Nurses Association, the American Osteopathic Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association, the American Public Health Association, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the Endocrine Society, the GLMA, Health Professionals Advancing LGBTQ Equality, the National Association of Nurse Practitioners in Women's Health, the National Association of Social Workers, the National Commission on Correctional Health Care, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the Society for Adolescent Health and Medicine, the World Medical Association, and the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Gee, it's almost like all these different associations know something that Marjorie Greene doesn't. Or maybe they know a lot more than she does. Look, it's one thing to call Marjorie Greene ignorant. Because let's be honest, she absolutely is.
Peachtree dish.
Okay, she's not a smart person, but it's more than that. She is actually just purposely hateful. People like Greene do not want trans people to exist. She wants to wipe trans people off the face of the earth. That's what all of their goal is. Now, of course, you'll never actually get rid of transgender people. You'll never get rid of gay people, right? But what they want to do is they want to make life so horrible for people who are transgender, people who are non-binary, people who are gay. They want to make life so horrible for them, deny them their identity, so that they will, and this is, let me give you a CW here, okay? They want to make them off themselves. And that's what the plan is. Make life so horrible for people that they will eliminate themselves. Because they can't at this point, they can't go and do it themselves, because I know they would. They would absolutely want to do that themselves. But, you know, we have this thing called laws, and so can't do that. They love the idea of making trans people harm themselves. A lot of different streamers and different shows have talked about Keffels. Okay, she's a Twitch streamer. She's transgender, and she had been swatted, which means somebody had called in a fake threat using her name, her dead name, by the way, to threaten, members of the city, leading to the cops sending a SWAT team to her house. She nearly died as a result of this. That's what they want to do to trans people. They could have killed her, but understand that in either case, intimidating her or killing her would have suited their aims just fine. They would have been happy with both. That's who these people are. That's what they want to do. They want to kill transgender people. They don't care about children. They don't care about the youth. Because transgender youth are the ones that are being harmed the most. And they don't care. That's what they want. That's what they want. So we have to understand who these people are. We have to understand what we're facing here in dealing with these people. Because you're not going to be able to talk sense into people who believe that trans people should be wiped off the face of the earth. I'm not going to work with those people. I don't care what those people believe. I don't care what those people think. If they think that trans people should not exist, then I want nothing to do with you. You're a broken disgusting person. Again, Marjorie Greene doesn't care about children, much less transgender children, but even cisgender children, right? She was the one who voted against actually ramping up production of powder. What was it? Formula. She doesn't care about them once they're born. She certainly doesn't care about them if they're transgender. She hates all of them. And she just wants to actively abuse transgender youth and prevent parents from being good parents and giving them, transgender people, the youth, the care that they need and the support that they deserve. She's literally one of the worst kinds of people. And she proves it every single time she opens her disgusting mouth.